Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, August the 14th. We are roll call black, white, and blue for better relations. I'm here with a few of my friends. I'm talking about real friends. I got D with us. I got Cheech with us. I got Will. I got Jerry. I got AC. I got Rich, Derek, Mark, and Jim is joining us. When he turn his screen on, we can see his face. But we there he is. See, there he is, Mister Happy over there. But listen, just to give you guys just a quick notice. We are Roll Call Black, White, Blue for Better Relations. We are going to take a break next week. Next week, it's the summertime. We're just going to take a breather, and we'll be back after that. But in the meantime, we have a statement of purpose. Wait a minute. Do we have what do we have, D?
Let's do the moment of silence real quick.
Moment. Okay, I told y'all how the paperwork sit in front of me. Got the moment of silence. Then we have the statement of purpose coming from um no, we got the disclaimer coming from Cheech and the statement of purpose coming from Rich. There it is. Okay, go ahead, D.
Policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away. This job isn't about power, it's about service. It's about standing between chaos and order. It's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves.
349 to badge 4178. This was a final call for Officer Phil Wagner, badge 5178. Thank you for your service. Godspeed. Take it from here.
Home.
All right, that was a little personal, D. Wasn't that Karen Barnes up in there? That first one?
Yes.
Okay, I could. Okay, I'm like, boy, that looks just like Carol Barnes, and I said, that's Karen Barnes over there. All right, we're gonna have our There was something else you wanted to do, D, or should I
That's it.
keep?
That's it. Keep
Okay,
going.
all right. Cheech, and then Rich.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, we wanted to go over a couple of things with you. First, we want to let you know that the comments made by members of Roll Call are not intended to be legal advice for anyone or recommendations, suggestions. Um, Please consult your local police department or local attorney for any legal advice. You have to remember that the laws change from village to village, city to city, state to state. So it's important that you consult someone from your area. Also, in order to spark our conversations, we do display videos and photographs that some may be graphic in nature. A member of the panel will let you know ahead of time if any of those are graphic. They are not the property of Roll Call. We get these videos from YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and all that good stuff, so you have access to it. Um, Again, if it is graphic, one of our members will let you know. Also, we want to let you know that the language used by our members is very spontaneous. We don't hold back. We all speak our truth. It's not intended to offend anybody, so please don't take it personal. You will see that sometimes we do not agree with each other, but we never take it personal, and we hope that you don't also. Thank you. Rich?
Thanks a lot, Cheech. Good afternoon, everybody. We are Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We are a pro law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism, and Black and Brown matter. Black and Brown lives matter. We're glad you're here with us today. Thank you.
All right, just as a reminder for those who are listening to us, that name Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations came from Rich, who just gave us our statement of purpose. He suggested it, we all looked at it, and that's what we came with. This is always a team. We always work as a team. We try to, but we treat each other like brothers and sisters. We do have a couple of women. Sometimes they're not always on, but we do have some. We thank God for that. All right, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to AC because for those who know me as a pastor, I take the whole month of August off. You know, I don't always go every place, but I'm on vacation. I'm in a vacation mode. And so I want to stay in my vacation mode right now. And AC, Derek thank you again last week. Derek led us. I appreciate that, Derek. And then this week I got AC. And then next week we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break next week. We're not gonna come on next week. The week after that, I hope I can remember. I'm gonna try to get Will Quick in there because Will Quick will have to have a lot to talk about that last week. All right. I already know he will. AC is in your hands, man.
Okay, well, I thought next week's supposed to be Jerry. Her turn.
Yeah, next week is Jerry, but we're gonna cancel Jerry. We cancel Jerry out.
All right, D, we get started with video, please.
All right, our first video is going to take us to a small town in New Jersey. Couple of weeks, well, actually, a couple of months ago, we spoke about parents being held for their kids' behavior. Now there's a town that's holding the parents responsible. Let's take a look.
Well, a night of fun turned into chaos in Gloucester Township, New Jersey last year when a brawl broke out among 500 teens. 11 people were arrested, including 9 teens. 2 cops were also hurt. Property was destroyed. And that is when the town said enough, and they passed the Minors and Parent Responsibility Law, holding parents criminally accountable. They could face up to 90 days in jail, possibly thousands in fines, if their kids commit multiple crimes. Is it fair? Well, let's debate it right now with the town's mayor, David Mayer, and one of the organizers of the parental rights group, the New Jersey Project, Nicole Stauffer. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Mayor, I'll start with you. You know, there's this push right now where you're seeing holding parents accountable for school shootings. You could say that makes sense. Warning signs, red flags, they didn't do enough to stop it. There was a recklessness on their part. It was foreseeable. Is this too broad? Does this cover too much? Can you monitor your kids 24/7 for any kind of infraction and you're held on the hook?
So, Jesse, thank you for having me, and it's great to be on with Nicole. You know, Jesse, we have a juvenile crisis in the United States. You see it all the time. We see the videos. It's a crisis. But also, I would say that we have an accountability crisis as well, where we have to start holding people responsible for their responsibilities. And all this ordinance does is hold parents responsible. Now, I will tell you this, Jesse, there is due process under this legislation. No one is going to jail right away, but the warning is out there. We have to get parents' attention to make sure they're tracking their children, juveniles, in a proper way, and hold them responsible.
Definitely caught a lot of people's attention, I'll tell you that much, Mayor. Nicole, your thoughts on this? I mean, the counter argument is, as we were talking, is the law makes parents, be stronger parents. What's your take on that?
Right. Well, if the laws weren't relaxed due to the marijuana laws that came into place in 2021, then maybe we wouldn't be here. We've been seeing these pop-up things happening since 2020 when we locked down the kids. They were running around. There was thousands of people in Seaside Heights, young adults and teenagers, wrecking the place. This has been happening for a while, and it became even worse when A.G. Plotkin came in, and the legislature came in and changed a bunch of laws that the police can't, if they smell weed on your child or they smell alcohol.
But Nicole, are you concerned about this as a parent? Are your friends concerned about it, that they're going to be caught up and prosecuted?
No.
They're not concerned?
No, because there's so many laws that prevent the police from doing their jobs. I'm not even sure this will work out in Gloucester Township.
Well, that's interesting.
The problem is that kids aren't held accountable to their behavior, and holding parents. I mean, you have an armed police officer, and you have a tired judicial system behind you, and you can't enforce the law, but you expect parents to be able to do it. I think the problem is because the state's not enforcing the laws that should be enforced. The problem is that they're not being enforced, and I don't see this getting enforced and working out either.
So, Mayor, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that. I was thinking of like a worst-case scenario where you have a parent who's locked up for what their child did, and then you have another, let's say they have multiple children, they're left without a parent. I'm wondering if this is beneficial in the end.
Yeah, Jesse, again, there is due process built into this ordinance. The first is that there is a warning. If a child gets into trouble, which children get into trouble.
Can you give an example, by the way? Can you give an example of how it would work?
So, certainly, if a juvenile does graffiti or whatever, and there's 28 ordinances or instances in the ordinance that would invoke this punishment. But if a kid does, graffiti, well, there is a warning that is issued to the parent, and they have to sign to say they acknowledge this ordinance is there and that they may be punished in the future. What we do in Gloucester Township is we get to that juvenile very quickly, and we put them on a path to success, not a path to the juvenile detention center. And our recidivism rate went from 44% to below 5%. But the point is, we have to get parents' attention. Last year in June, at our Gloucester Township Day, a public friendly event that we've had for over 40 years.
Yeah.
We had all those juveniles show up. And I will tell you, the problem was we couldn't get rid of them because no one picked them up. Their parents didn't pick them up. Uber and Lyft picked them up.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. And Nicole, just real quick, there was a response, because I think this is actually a conversation beyond New Jersey. A lot of people are paying attention to this. If it has a deterrent effect, if the very notice of it, like we're talking about, it's making parents take notice, isn't that the goal?
It is.
Nicole, if you want to just answer that one. Yeah.
Oh, is it making parents take notice? Yes, but nobody really takes it seriously. I don't think the kids don't take the law seriously, and the parents don't take the law seriously. So I don't think, I mean, among my friends, I don't really have this problem.
Okay, let's see what happens. Mayor David Mayer, Nicole Stauffer, thank you both so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
I didn't get a chance to see what order the hands came up.
I got it. Cheech, Jim, Derek, and Will.
Okay.
Yeah. So this happened in my area. We had a situation where 150 to 200 kids came into the downtown area where all the bars and restaurants and where most of the community gathers. It's very touristy area, and they came on those scooters. They were going by people and knocking their drinks out of their hands. They were playing chicken with the cars on the streets with the scooters. They went into one of the local parks that's in downtown and destroyed it completely. Beautiful park. We also found videos on social media of them jumping other kids during this whole event. We have, in previous years, and I'm involved in giving advice to the chief of police down here through a committee on things to do with youth. We have tried so many different things. We had youth nights where at our local fairgrounds, we would have, and the kids all gathered, and that went great at the fairgrounds. But once we released them, like was said in this video, parents weren't picking them up. And these kids were going down the street on their own, walking in the street against traffic. You know, they just didn't care. They were going to a gas station that was across the street from the fairgrounds and stealing everything, to the point that that gas station decided, we're going to shut down anytime you guys do this. So they were losing business. This last event this year caused a lot of businesses to complain, and they lost a lot of people that do not want to go to downtown. On social media, you started seeing the adults saying, well, this is why I'm going to start carrying my gun downtown, you know, when I go downtown. So it can turn into something more serious. So one of the things that was brought up was we need to start holding the parents accountable. And I agreed, because we've done so much and tried so many other things and it doesn't work. And these are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids out at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when this was happening. There's no reason these kids should be out downtown at that hour, and you as a parent are just dropping them off or are not even aware of it. So the same way that they're doing it there in Jersey was, you're going to get a warning, but if your kid is caught out here again causing havoc, you're going to get arrested for failure to supervise your child. So far, we have 2 parents that have gotten arrested. It seems to have worked because we saw that activity go down significantly. So it's just, to us here personally, it got to that point where we need to start holding the parents accountable. You know, so I agree with what they're doing over there.
Before we go any further, I got Jim next. So prior to that, what's the name of that township this is in?
This is Forsyth County, Winston-Salem.
No, I'm referring to the.
I think it's Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Right, Gloucester. Yeah, Jersey.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
This is a tricky question. We've dealt with this issue before, and I am totally in favor of what happened in Michigan, where the school shooter's parents were held criminally responsible and are serving time. But in that case, you have to remember that case they were held criminally responsible because they didn't safeguard their weapon. They knew the kid had access to the gun, and there was a host of things that they could have done to prevent the shooting. So, in essence, I'm in total favor of that. But when you put a big blanket out, I mean, there are parents, we know them, that do everything right, and their kid they just can't control their kid. You're going to put their parent in jail? They have no control. That happens. So my fear is that if you make it a blanket law, that if your kid does something twice, you're going to jail for him. I think that's too broad. I think you have to be able to say the parent had knowledge, even if it's a minor crime. Let's say the parent is teaching a kid how to steal. Well, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that then. There has to be some reasons that the parent is responsible directly for the crime. It can't be just bad parenting. When you start putting every parent that and who makes that rule, by the way? Who makes the rule of what's a good parent and a bad parent? So it's although in principle I'm in favor of it, and we also know that civilly parents are always responsible. They're always going to get sued for anything their kid does. So that already exists. But when it comes to criminal, I think it's too broad what they just did. I think it has to be more like they did in Michigan, where the parents had a direct cause and effect of that shooting. That's my 2 cents.
If I can respond to that, Jim, in our case, we let the parents know ahead of time, right? But we also told them about the programs that we have during the day. And we did say, if you're having issues with your child, that they are out of control and you're unable to control them, and they're sneaking out in the middle of the night, to give us a heads up, to let us know ahead of time. But we are targeting more parents that we know, that we've already been involved with, that get mad when you come with their child at 1 a.m. and you're the bad guy saying, why is my child in a patrol car? Why are you bringing them home? Without even asking ahead of time what they did or, what they were doing downtown. So in our case, it is parents that we are aware that are okay with their children out there causing havoc.
I would say, Cheech, just in response to that in my total career, it was probably about 95% of the parents that would say what you just said. What are you doing with my kid? Parents it's almost like automatically go into a defensive mode when it comes to their own kid. It's not I agree. It's not an easy issue, but I'll stand on what I said.
Good point. I like that, Jim. I like that. Cheech as well. I think Derek was next. AC, go ahead. I'm sorry. You got it. You good? You got it.
Will. So Will, actually you told me Will, Derek, but I don't know if Will had anything to say. I know so his hand up, but can you monitor the Facebook chat for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's at best unethical and unfair, and at worst, it should be unlawful. I mean, you have a lot of honest parents out there that happen to have a child that might be bad, and you might have a parent that has 3 or 4 kids, and you have one child that's bad. You have single parents out there. Some of these single parents work at night. Some people get up early in the morning. The last 10 years of my career, my shift started at 6 a.m. So I was up at 4 something in the morning. If somebody was to sneak out at 1 in the morning, I might not know it. Or if a person didn't have an alarm keypad in their bedroom, they might not know it. If the child is the criminal, the child should be charged as a criminal. The parent shouldn't be charged and be created. You can't create a criminal because someone's child is doing something bad. I just don't see it. I don't. Also, if particularly in a case where you have a single parent, when the parent gets arrested and has to go to prison for 60 or 90 days, who's supervising the child or the children then? it makes no sense. You are creating a criminal out of a law-abiding citizen that happens to have a child that has a criminal mind. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's too much of an encroachment upon innocent people's lives. If the kids are doing bad, arrest the kids. And they get to a certain level of recidivism. If they need a PINS warrant and they need to be taken out of the home, so be it. But don't take a hardworking parent who's an honest person, not a criminal, and put them in jail. And then the kid that's causing all the havoc is still out of jail, free to do whatever the hell he or she wants to do. Makes no sense to me.
Okay. Well,
much like anything that we have going on, particularly law enforcement related and community engagement, it's always going to be a monster with a bunch of different heads. Now, a lot of us grew up during the age where they called us latchkey kids. You go home and it wasn't a parent there, but you knew what you were supposed to do. You go in the house, you do your homework, that sort of thing. We're in a different time now. What I haven't heard in regards to this solution that's been put forth from the law enforcement side is the inclusion of all the stakeholders, the biggest one being the parents. So my thought on that is this. I understand holding them accountable, but when you have an instance with a child that is either out after hours or they've gotten caught up in some sort of criminal behavior, before you start administering warnings and punishments, give an opportunity for parents to come in with their children in a group setting, because all the parents need to see one another, because they need to join forces as parents to expand the village. Because it doesn't take a whole lot of it's hard for one parent to keep track of all their children, but if you got a team of parents and they're keeping their eyes out for all the kids, now you stand a better chance of the children being like, okay, I don't know if I want to get caught out here because such and such mama is going to tell my mama that they saw me out here, or whatever the case may be. But when you have a situation with the kids that are out there and you contact the parent and say, we need to bring these parents in, have a discussion about the behavior, the time, and let the parents work out an arrangement with themselves and law enforcement to help expand their ability to supervise and monitor the children's behavior. Now, if you have parents that don't want to take a proactive approach to trying to prevent this, then those are going to be the ones that get the brunt of the consequences for their children's behavior. Now, aside from that, some of the comments that we've got, Donald Coleman says all the gas stations needed to do was lock the doors and sell through the windows. And as I pointed out, Mr. Coleman, good point. Yeah, that's the solution for the gas station. But you still got customers coming up to those windows that have to wade through and engage with this rambunctious crowd of kids. So that's still a problem. Not to mention, a lot of stations don't actually have a night service window. So while it can be a solution for some, you still got enough that it's still going to be an ongoing problem. Eric Jones goes, go back to the old days, give the parents the power to beat that butt within reason. It's probably still some out there that prescribe to that, but I tell you all this, it's different when you punish a child with corporal punishment now than it was when we grew up, because a child will associate corporal punishment. If they accept it and they change behavior, then that's great. But then when they get out there and somebody wrongs them, they associate that violence with how to resolve their conflict. They say, well, I did wrong and I got my tail tore up. So if somebody wrongs me, I'm going to tear their tail up. And it may sound far-fetched, but I'm trying to tell you, that's where a lot of children first get their exposure to violence as a way of resolving conflict. Isabel Jordan says, I was a single parent with 3 teenagers that were left home alone while I worked 2 jobs to support them. But if my kids decided to do something stupid, how was that my fault? Punish my kids. I can see her point with that. Kind of like what Derek was saying. That's it.
Okay, I got D, Donald, and Mark.
All right, just really quick, a couple of things. Will, I'm glad you said that. But when I was watching this, I looked up the word responsibility, and it's the state of the fact of having duty to deal with something or having control over someone. That's responsibility. What I think is wrong is no one wants to take responsibility for anything. It's always someone else's fault. It's my kid's fault. If my kids don't act right, it's the police's fault. Police don't act right, they went to jail, it's the jail's fault. Ultimately, then it's the system's fault. Because my kid can't get a job now, it's the system and the man, sorry, Jim, the man got his knee on his neck, right? It's somebody else's fault. I'm from a different age where I don't ever remember, and y'all ain't nothing wrong. We got the fire slapped out of us. Ain't nothing wrong with none of us. Well, maybe Dave, but there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with any of us. When I left my house, if I could leave my house because I was under strict rules, and I went down the block and Miss Butler saw me or Miss Williams saw me, they could slap the fire out of me. And then I'd have to go home and hope neither one of them called my mother, because then I'm breaking bricks in the backyard. I think we've gone so far into nobody's responsibility is, and ultimately it's the kid's fault. It's then when the police get them, it's the police's fault. Is anybody else watching? It's nobody's fault. We got to get back to everybody taking responsibility. It's the parents' responsibility. It's the child's responsibility. It's all the parents, the village, right? It takes a village. It's responsibility. It's the police's responsibility. And let's stop looking to shirk responsibility. I think that's why this show started, because everybody's shirking. Well, the reason is the way I was raised. What? What? Shut up. Let me share my backstory. Stop it. The way you was raised. Stop it. I haven't heard a worse story yet. We need to stop being so politically correct, so willing to blame somebody else and to push the problem off and to fix the problem. Because ultimately, those kids are going to end up getting locked up, hands on by the police officer, and put in jail where, come on, Will, Cheech. Come on, Cheech. I'm going to tell you where you don't want to go. I've been in there too. Yeah, you don't want to go in there. You don't want no parts of that place. And I'm saying that to say we got to pull back the responsibility that everybody is ultimately responsible. If they're holding these people responsible, it's because you're responsible. You can't start looking to push the responsibility off. And then we're raising these, I'm going to be nice, youngsters that they don't have responsibility. And then they raise kids and nobody has responsibility. And then somebody ends up putting a speed knot on your head and you go, well, who's taking responsibility? Well, nobody, because nobody's responsible. It's not fair that somebody should be held responsible. Everybody should be responsible. I should be able to snatch. Will, you should be able to snatch. Jim, you should be able to snatch anybody's kids. Anybody take a public transportation lately? I stopped taking it because I'm going to get myself in trouble. These kids are out of their mind.
Yeah.
You see me sit, my man, relax. What are you doing? No respect because there's no responsibility. And they don't have to take responsibility. And once you drag, we used to be dragged home. Who remembers? They used to grab the back of you and drag you home. And the last thing your mother would say was really what he did. You got dealt with first. That's all I got.
You're still on mute, AC.
All right, it's your turn, Donald.
All right, I didn't want to jump the gun. No, but I'm listening to it. I can see both sides of the story, especially when Derek and Jim made their points, real solid points. But I'm looking at D and Cheech as well. Look at how these kids have no supervision. Even I almost said something I'm supposed to say, y'all. Y'all know what I'm doing, but I ain't want everybody else to know what I'm doing. But um, there's curfews that should be out there. Something to guide our youth, because everyone in here knows that these youth are going crazy and they're taking over. They take over trains, buses, other types of transportation, and I guess this is where I'm going. They should be punished. I don't know if I want to see a parent going to jail unless a parent is contributing to that behavior, going to jail because they have a child that they can't control. They're doing the best they can, and most parents will not tell on their child, no matter how bad that child is. They're not gonna go to the law enforcement. I mean, let me just be honest with you. I'm not taking any of my kids to law enforcement. I was just talking to someone just the other day. I said, listen, we had a babysitter that was like, listen, if you have any problems with your kids, give me a call. I'll say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna call you about my child's behavior. Yeah, that ain't gonna ever happen. Ain't no one else gonna be able to do it better than I do it or my wife do it. So my point is that I'm gonna be involved with my kids. But even as involved as I am with my kids, who's to say that my kids not out there speeding, running red lights, traffic violations, um, and if they're that age, they're old enough to drive, then they should be old enough to take care of their own responsibilities. All right, so I'm kind of like in the middle of this thing. I just would hate to see a good parent that's doing all they can do, but this child is just misbehaving, and now they go to jail. That's my problem. That's it, AC.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So when the police were dealing with mental aids, everybody was screaming for social workers to get involved. Well, this is a key opportunity for social workers to get involved. Instead of locking up the parents, because when you lock up a parent, and like Donald said, unless they're contributing, that's a different set of circumstances. But when you have a parent who's out there maybe working or sleeping because they got to go to work, and this kid's sneaking out the house, when you lock up that parent, you can devastate a family. Certain jobs don't allow, if a person gets arrested, to continue to work there. So you can devastate a family by this law. Now, my thing would be, an alternative would be to get them, first the police bring them, call the parents up. So you're going to inconvenience the parent. So they will be notified, and hopefully the parent can then deal with the kid. But if not, then get the social workers involved, get family services involved, and find out what's going on in that household. That, if the parent needs some type of help or assistance, they can get it. But if not, hopefully that kid will see that, okay, I've been taken down to a detention area and it's not fun here. And now my parents got to come pick me up, and they're going to be yelling at me all the way home. And like I said, the social workers, let them talk to the kids. Let them find out exactly what's going on in that household. And if it's that bad, you may have to yank the kid out that house. But for a parent who's dealing with a group of, a family, a parent who's got a family and only one kid or maybe two kids are acting up, for the safety of the other kids, you may have to remove them from the house, not permanently, but temporarily, because that's the way they're going anyway. So give them a little bit of taste, maybe get them scared straight. There's a lot of programs out there, if they haven't been destroyed by our taco, but use the social workers. That's it.
Good. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Prior to going on to the next one, I wrote down a couple of things that's actually been covered. We need consequences.
Mm-hmm.
The woman in the video said there are laws and police there. Just allow them to work. And, granted, they're juveniles, so you're not trying to, unless they're heinous crimes committed, you're not trying to arrest and take them to jail. But if you got a mob of kids regularly roaming the streets and creating havoc, you have to do something to stop it. Put people there to stop it. And there should be consequences. I don't know about arresting parents unless they're contributing, because the worst thing you do with a child is not listen to the parents, is take the parent away. Ain't nobody to listen to. Yeah. Anyway, D, you got another video?
Yes, I do. Our next video is going to take us, I'm not even sure where this is, but it's a laundromat. I want to say, I'm not even going to guess. But a laundromat where a Good Samaritan helped out a woman. We're seeing more and more where the most vulnerable of us are getting attacked, and it seems to me people are getting fed up. Let's take a look.
Well, it started as a regular day at the laundromat, but then it turned into a very scary situation. A woman came face to face with a man with a bat before two men took him down, and a security camera captured it all. ABC 24's Ezekiel Telemaco joins us now. Ezekiel, you talked exclusively with the victim and the customers who came to her rescue. Is that right?
Yep. So it's a pretty crazy story, honestly. And this happened at Ellie's Laundromat on South Pauline Street. And it started when workers banned a man from the property. And then it took a violent turn when he attempted to come back.
I was drying and washing his clothes. And he told me that I didn't even be on my phone. And I was like, huh? I didn't understand what he was saying at first because I didn't hear him. So I was like, huh? And he was like, you don't need to be on your phone. I was like, why not? He was like, because he was washing his clothes or something. And I was like, okay. And then he had left.
Hendricks says she thought that was the end of it, but minutes later, police say Joseph Leak came back, and this time he was yelling at customers and swinging an orange baseball bat. That's when two customers, Donald Young and Reginald Harris, stepped in.
I was glad I was able to hold him down instead of shoot him, because we have enough of that going on in the city, and I think it portrays the city in a negative light.
Harris says he never came to the laundromat expecting to be a hero, but he thinks it's everyone's responsibility to help each other.
I didn't come in here to be a hero. I came here to wash clothes. But I think you need to interact where you see a need. And it's everybody's job to do that in the community. That's what made Memphis what it was.
And while many are calling him courageous, Harris says his heart is with both the victim and the suspect.
You know, a lot of people say, well, he's this, he's that. But you know what? My heart goes out to him, too, because I don't want to read about him dead, and I don't want to read about her dead either. I'm tired of seeing that go on in our city. And like I said, we can talk about it or we can do something about it.
Harris says he hopes this moment helps remind people of what Memphis used to stand for.
Back in the day, if they saw you, people intervened. And they even told your parents. There was a thing called pride. There was a thing called morality. And I think that needs to return back to this city.
Yeah, and because of these heroic acts, Hendricks wasn't hurt, and Leak is being held at the Shelby County Jail on aggravated assault, criminal trespass, and burglary charges.
Okay. I have Jim, Mark, and Dave. Jim?
My comment is really quick. It's something that Donald always said. And this proved he was armed, because he made a comment that I could have shot him. I'm glad I didn't have to. And that always reminds me what Donald says all the time. Just because you legally can do it, should you do it? And this man proved that everybody lived by not using his weapon. That's really all the comment I have.
Hey, Mark?
Yeah, mine's real quick, too. I hope that the local police department commends that guy. He made the idea to just grab the guy, not to shoot him. I'm glad the situation turned out the way it did. And like I said, I just hope that the local police department recognizes him for his heroic act.
Okay. Dave? I'll mute yourself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that D. Schoon was just talking. That nice gentleman, D. Schoon was just talking about that. He mentioned it too. Back in the day, we didn't have all this. You know what I mean? Back in the day, that guy was raised right, man. He was raised right, and it brings me to something that when I worked in the school system down here, and that was a horror, man. Okay, when I worked in the school system down here, it was well, the more and more we got older, the more and more we switched presidents, man. It was like our community just broke apart. You know, we couldn't go down the block back in the day. Even if you didn't see a neighbor, they're gonna swear they saw you. They're gonna tell your parents you didn't speak to them. But now we got away from that, man, and I don't just blame us. You know, the system of everything. All these programs are taken out of our hoods, our neighborhoods, and stuff like that. And the help that was there. We had people who were mentally disturbed when we were growing up, but you know what though? They were still part of our community. They didn't go around just if they had a little episode, man. My father, my neighbor, a couple of deacons for the church would grab me. Come on, man, let's go. We gotta get you some help. Come on, But that guy right there, that guy, he's like us, man. He's a real, I say this, he's a real black man, because a real black man doesn't wake up looking to get a pat on the back for each good thing he does. We got the next problem solved tomorrow. I'm done.
Okay. D?
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quickly, this video was a nice segue into the other video. And if we got back to this, to where you see mature gentlemen, I don't want to call y'all old, but you see mature gentlemen, it changed your behavior when I was young. We saw mamas and grandmas, Jerry, out. We spoke different. We just yes ma'am, no ma'am. I said ma'am like I knew her. You know, it's good to start seeing more and more of these episodes, because I'm being very I want to be tenuous. It needs to change. Because people can't walk out by themselves anymore. People getting snatched and grabbed, and people jumping in your car, and all kind of foolishness happening, because everybody has the mindset that ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Keep to myself. Can't touch nobody. Can't say nothing to me. Don't walk in my way. I'ma sue you. We need to get away from that. And if we got away from that, more and more of this type of thing probably would be avoided, because that young man would have walked in there and saw that older gentleman in there and went, well, not today. If I'm feeling, many a time, not today. Those of us in the room that have interviewed bad guys, and you get into it, because I do deep, intense interviews, and they'll say sometimes, why you didn't, we followed you over there, you did, and they'll say, that Donald Butler was standing over there. He didn't look like he could be. You understand? If we got back to that, more of this foolishness would be avoided, I think.
Anybody, anything else? Will?
So I think we all agree, and we can sum it up in the village component has eroded away. I think we can all agree upon that. There's 11 of us on here right now. If all of us had underage children and we lived in the same neighborhood, or we'll say the same city, we would be a village and accountable not just for our kids, but for our family's kids. We'd be extended family. How do we draw people in, particularly because this is typically happening in densely populated urban environments? So these environments are seeing an ongoing change in dynamics where people move in, they move out. It's not generations where you know people and that respect builds over generations. These are situations where somebody could be your neighbor one day and you got a different neighbor the week later.
Wow.
And people don't get out to get to know who their neighbors are. And if there's 3 things you can't talk to somebody about, especially when you don't know them, and in a lot of cases when you do, You don't talk to them about their money. You don't talk to them about their relationships. And you certainly don't talk to them about their children. You don't successfully have those conversations for the greater good of the village without relationship. And that is where we are struggling. We do not have relationship. How can we expect to come up with a solution to this when we haven't even tried to say, parents, we need to bring you all in. Your child's been caught out here. We need to bring all the parents in so you all can look each other in the eye and say, if you want to keep us out your business, I need for you all to become a village within this city and help us to supervise, direct, and monitor these kids so that we don't create an avenue into the criminal justice system.
Okay, thank you. Cheech?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to what Will was saying. I'll take it a step further. Parents nowadays are afraid to go knock on somebody else's door and tell them what their kid is doing. You know, they don't do that anymore. They'll go on social media and complain on Nextdoor app and Facebook. You know, they'll do it there, but they won't do it in person. We've lost that. Like you said, you know, back in the day, if I did something down the block, my parents were going to know before I even got home. And the neighbor was going to take care of me, and then my parents were going to whip my ass again when I got home. That's the way it was, but it's not like that no more. And the kids that our group is mentoring, we have yet to meet the parents. Have invited them out, have asked them to come out to dinners where we give them free food. They don't get involved. You know, it's a whole new generation.
Thanks. Jerry?
Yeah, my comment is going along basically with what all of you are saying. We're at a point right now, like, I am from the South. If I see you, if I encounter you and I make eye contact, I go, hi, how are you? They don't do that no more. Nobody speak to anybody. I speak to anything and everybody. And that's another one of those, you know, like when we talk about that melding, if you will, people aren't even speaking to each other. And it does not take anything for me to say, hello. What does that hurt? What does that take? And then you can develop at least some sort of relation. You're not going to talk about my kids when you're not even going to talk to me. You don't even say hello when you see me. So, you know, so even lower, basic. People aren't even communicating as humans with each other anymore.
Thank you. Rich?
You're on mute, Mitch. Rich, you're on mute.
Let me see if I can ask him.
Okay, sorry about that. I started talking and I wasn't getting through. You know, when these problems come up, I always think about what's the solve. And obviously, holding parents accountable for the children's actions is not the answer. I mean, like Jim said, if it's something about, you know, leaving a gun around and the kids having access to, then like, parents are definitely responsible, need to be held accountable. But these other things that kids do when a parent's working or a single parent that has other kids, and, you know, it's hard enough just to make it in these times, you know, to provide food and put and a roof over your kid's head. Now you got to be held responsible for those kids' actions. And that's not the answer. I agree that the answer is what we used to have, you know, like the Boys and Girls Club. These after school different events that kids could be engaged in to keep them off the street, involved in programs. You know, the community come together and have community meetings, just like you would have the neighborhood watch. You know, that's how the parents can get involved in, you know, bringing that village back, is having those kind of meetings if they can. Concerned parents that want to better the neighborhood, it can engage in that somehow. That's really where the answer lies, when we all come together as a community to solve those issues, and the kids get on notice that they're being watched. I think they start acting a little differently, but it's gone too far. We've given kids too much power over adults. You know, once you start a situation where a kid can call whatever number and say, hey, you know, my parents beating my ass. And then the parents are now being pressured by whatever organization that is that's come and verify this kid's story. it's problematic, you know. And then when let's say you have a kid who's from a broken home and there's divorced parents, and say he's with one parent, he really wants to be with the other parent. So now I'm gonna get this parent in trouble by acting out. It's too much. It's too much power for the kids to have. Just got to bring those communities back together. Parents got to concern, organize, like I said, and get involved in your community. That's the best way to do these things. And like Mark said, you know, if you need to get social workers involved to handle problems, then let them become more active. Everybody doing their part can make this a better situation. That's all I got.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, man. This topic right here is important because last Sunday, Don, we had a guest pastor, a guest preacher that came to our community Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, your children are not your friends.
Yep.
They are your children.
You were listening.
Yeah. And I was like, I ain't never shot my own house before, but nobody around. You know what I mean? So I had to go in the praise dance up in here when he said that.
Hey.
And he reiterated it too about 3 times. He said, your children are not your friends. They are your children.
Yep.
Okay? Your real friends will check you. People claim to be your friends. They don't check you. They're not your friends either.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, he's saying. Yeah. Man, you know, it goes to this conversation a little bit. And how we act like we need our kids' approval for something. No, I don't. Just don't bring me no shit up in this house. And you got a problem, come talk to me, and we can solve it together. As father, son. Or father, daughter, father, granddaughter, father, grandson, grandfather, you know, whatever. But, you know, we're losing something. Another thing is this. We don't have enough social workers. We don't have enough. There is not enough. Their caseloads are crazy. And they just can't get to every kid like they should. Their caseloads are, it depends on where you are. I know down here in Washington, D.C., man, they ain't got nowhere near enough. None at all. We got more belts and switches down here, though, for some ass whoopers, but we ain't got enough social work. Think about it. I'm done.
Okay. Derek?
Yeah, I think recidivism is a big deal. And obviously, if a kid is like, you know, one-time offender for something minor or a couple of times for something minor, and slaps on the slaps on the hand are deserved. But there are kids out there that are seriously committing crimes, and they're getting slaps on the hands. And if they know nothing's going to happen to them, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. Some kids get to a point where they no longer fear their parents. Especially you start talking about some of these teenage guys that are knuckleheads and they're being raised by a single woman. They get to a point where they no longer fear them. And I've, you know, on both sides of my family, I've had a bunch of males that were convicted, some as teenagers. And they get to a point where they no longer fear the woman that's running the household. And law is supposed to keep people lawful or punish them for their misdeeds. And there's a whole lot of hand slapping going on, but people aren't really getting punished. And again, I don't think, you know, if 1 or 2 times something minor, you shouldn't do time. But if a kid has a history of doing criminal activity, they should be locked up. And after school programs are great. Those 500 kids, they were fighting at 1 a.m. After school program isn't going to do anything for that. After the after school program, you go home, you eat dinner, you go back out, you hang out, and you're one of the 500 people fighting. But I think recidivism needs to be addressed more heavily, and people that are recidivists need to be punished.
Okay. Thank you. Will, you got a couple comments from the chat from Facebook. After that,
Correct.
D, I think we'll go to the next video. Yeah.
Okay. Some of the comments made some reference to the lack of fathers in these homes. Some percentages were given. I don't know that they are accurate, so I'm not going to just put those out there. Renee Henderson says, my daughter didn't have her father, but she had my father for 26 years of her life. She's a productive, responsible, and respectful adult at 45 years old. The fathers are obviously the expected route, but having a positive male and female role model in a child's life is important on both sides of that coin. Brian Camp says, coming from a single parent household, our mother gave me and my brother a certain sterile look, and we never crossed that line. I think we all know about that one. And, you know, again, we're talking about the way it was when we grew up. And I think it was you, D, that was saying that we're all mature here. Got a lot of years behind us. The time that we're dealing with right now, if you are a child coming up, where's your hope that is going to help you stay on the path? I can't sell education anymore because it's the debt trap and you can't get money to go to school. And the employers are busy trying to find a way to employ fewer people. So if you're going to, especially with a child, you have to have a carrot to some extent. But if these children don't see hope in what their future is going to look like by doing the right thing, then the mindset is, why the hell bother? And when they see what us adults do on the level that we're doing it at right now, we're just not thinking like children. We're playing on a whole different level with some of the stuff that we're seeing right now. They see these examples and they understand it. And they got access to information on a level that we couldn't even dream of back when we was kids. That's dangerous. And now here we are trying to figure out how to get to right the ship with these kids, when as adults, we see it around us every day. We can't right it with ourselves.
Thank you. D?
All right, we're gonna stay on this same road we're on. We got a stranger assisting a female police officer when she gets attacked. Let's take a look.
On September 10, 2022, at approximately 4:25 p.m. in the area of Lost Nation Road and Lost Nation Airport, Willoughby police officer Stacy Wright initiated a traffic stop on a 2009 black Chevy Malibu for going 57 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone.
Day 12 radio traffic stop. Hello. I'm Officer I will be police department. The reason why I'm stopping you is the speed. 57 and a 35. You're going 57 and a 35, sir. You have your driver's license, proof of insurance. Why are you getting out of the car, sir? My driver. Why? 12 radio, this male just stepped out of the vehicle. Step over here now. Have a seat on the ground. Have a seat. I'm not sitting. I'm not sitting! Back up! Back up! I'm not sitting, motherfucker! We're getting physical. Put your hands behind your back. I'm not sitting. I will tase you, sir. Touch the vehicle. Put your hands on the fucking vehicle now! Radio, send me unit. it.
At this point, Officer Wright called for additional units after a nearby motorist saw the altercation and decided to assist Officer Wright in detaining the suspect.
Roll over on your stomach now. Fucking ground.
Knock it off, man. Knock it off now. Get your arm behind you.
Put your arm behind your back. Okay, get your cuffs. Get your cuffs. Get your cuffs.
Shut up. Shut up.
You don't do that to a woman. Do you understand me? Fuck or not, you don't do that to a woman.
Relax, Jake. Get him on.
Take it down.
All right.
Fuck, don't do that to a woman. He raised you.
All right.
You good up here.
Males detained at this time. Put your slide.
Roll on your side. Stand up. Walk back to my car. You're under arrest for assault on a police officer. Have a seat.
Okay. Now, Will and Dave.
I like that she approached the car. She announced who she was, and she told him why he was stopped. I encourage
President Trump is abroad. He
officers when I was doing the job. When I was doing the job, that's what you do. When he got out the car, things were starting to go left. At that point in time, I'm on the radio calling for a cover car immediately. And everything stays on pause while we're standing out. He moved out the traffic, good. But I'm just keeping reactionary distance and keeping my eyes on him until my cover gets there. As long as he's not in traffic, I'm not worried about whether or not he's sitting down. I'm more worried about him getting out of the car. And now we're both face to face. It escalated when she told him to sit down. Whether or not it was the way she told him or the fact that he didn't want to sit down, that could be anybody's comment. But I'm not doing anything else once he gets out of that car until I've radioed that I need backup to come and they arrive. If he presses the issue before that, then all well and good. Now, the other component is this. I don't know if that was her that said these words, but it was one other female there. But she said, you don't do that to a woman. You don't do that to a woman. It sounded like her voice. She forgot. He doesn't see a woman. He sees a police officer. And when we're talking about doing this job, and there are people out here that feel like that there are women that shouldn't be doing this job, if those words can be attributed to her, she is giving fuel to that fire by saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, the same thing, Will.
Did anybody see another woman go over there, like an older lady?
Yes.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That's who it was, right?
That's who it was. Now I'm gonna go the other way. You know what? I think that female did an outstanding job because when he got out the car, she radioed. He's stepping out of the car. People are coming. Okay, you know they're coming. They're rolling. But then she asked him to let's step out of the street, move over here, sit down on the curb. And he backed up a little bit, got a little physical, and she said he's getting physical. People are still coming. I don't know what state this was in, how far they had to come, but they were coming. Okay, because she didn't have to get on that radio one more time before that cop car showed up, the other cop car. So they were coming. But I commend her, man. I commend her. She wasn't scared. or nothing. She was angry, what she should have been. And I commend those passers-by that stopped to help, because I've done that in Pittsburgh with the PA State Police. But I would get out the car, stand back, and give the thumbs up sign, and the guy would nod like that, and I would get in my car and drive off. You know, and once he got the guy to cooperate, I would drive off. But anyway, man, that was the older lady saying that, man. You don't do that to a woman. That was a grandma that don't play that bullshit. That's who that was. Okay, that's grandma from back in the days to slap the shit out of you and your daddy if she think you're both wrong. That's grandma. See, that's the lady that was like the matriarch of the neighborhood. That's who that was. And you know, I commend those passers-by. They ran over there and put some weight on that guy, and game was over. But you know, the guy was going through a mental episode, I guess. I don't know. But you know, she signed up for the job. And you know what? She wasn't afraid to do it. That's it.
Okay. D?
Two really, really quick points. I had no problem with anything I saw there. Dave, you were right. We can hear in each other's voice. I don't know whether people know that. We actually hear each other's radio conversations. We call it car to car. That's what the state police calls it. And I could hear when there's something in Richard's voice, and all of a sudden you see another car show up, or where you at, or I know I just saw him down there, I'm gonna take a run. So a lot of times, I know they say if you don't call for backup, you're not gonna get back up. There are times, you know, somebody will hear something in your voice and 4 or 5 cars will show up at 100 miles an hour with brakes smoking. You know what I'm talking about. It's just the nature of the way we did the job. The one thing I wanted to say was, and I have an issue with the language, right? So I think policing stays on a professional level, and especially when you're out there stopping cars. Once it drops below that level, and you saw there at the end, he was already in his mental problem, but then the language dropped. Then I don't know, does he see it as an adversarial situation because you were no longer professional, and then the hands go on. You see what I'm saying? So it was always a stretch for me. I never thought you could talk to people. We were in full out fights. I've been cut, face broke. I've never issued the F word. It just didn't come to mind, is what I'm saying. I wasn't taught that way. We had gotten to the fight and F you man, because that's a fight. We were talking about this before we got on air. It's not a fight, and I want the public to understand. You take a swipe at me, it's not me and you in a fight. I got a job to do, right? I gotta enforce the law. You take a swipe at me, you broke a law, I gotta enforce it. It's that simple. It's not me and you. Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to teach defensive tactics, and I really didn't like teaching boxing, because the most ridiculous thing in the world is to see a uniformed guy with his gun and standing up there, or you know what I mean? We didn't teach that. You go hands on, you take him down, you take him out. We don't have time for F you, no F you, your mother too. So whenever I hear the language, it just takes me off as to, oh, now this thing is going south. And that's what you usually get if you, I watch a lot of videos, maybe too many, but I watch a lot of videos, and what happens is I see when that language comes out, it all becomes, now we're on an equal footing, when we're never on an equal footing. I'm the authority, you got to do what I say, end of story. And we have to maintain that. And I think a lot of it is language, because that's the thing now. I see it all the time. You know, give me your effing hands. What? What? Excuse me? Beg your pardon? It's not the way we speak. What are you talking about? They didn't issue us, state police says they didn't issue us curses. They say you don't use them if we don't issue them to you. They didn't issue those to us. They issued us another kind of language. So that's all I got.
That's why we appreciate the state troopers. That's not how we work, but I appreciate it. Derek.
Yeah, she did a pretty good job. Obviously, when she told him to sit on the ground, that's when things really went south. Um, I kind of feel like there are certain ways that you can treat people that's not demeaning, and telling someone to sit on the ground is demeaning. I've always said that I hope a cop never tells me that because I'm not going to do it. And, obviously they'll probably jump on me and rough me up, but I will not voluntarily, and mind you now, of course, I won't get out of my car either. But I have actually watched videos before where I've seen police tell people to get out of the car and tell them to sit on the ground. Yeah. And I don't feel like you should take me out of a perfectly good car seat that I'm seat belted in and tell me to sit on the ground. But that's where things went left. Once things started to go left, she probably could have made use of her tools better. I'm sure she had a taser of some kind. She probably could have used that and help bring things under control. But fortunately, the citizens that were around jumped in and they helped her to hold the guy down. So things turned out well. But that could have gone south in a different direction.
Thank you. Rich?
Yeah, real quick. I think everything worked out well. Like the people get involved to help her. But I really think once he got out of the car, she should have ordered him to get back in the car to maintain the control on that stop. But when he got out, he had those yellow gloves on, which is like a kind of a flag of, hey, what's going on with this person? I'd rather order him back in the vehicle if I was telling him to come sit down and bringing him around. She's by herself. Get back in the vehicle. And also, we don't know if she had her car canted to give a safe area on that side, on the driver's side of the vehicle, because she went around on the passenger side, which is a good tactic. But I don't know if her car was actually protecting that lane when the guy came stepping out all broad, with his yellow gloves on, in danger of traffic going by. So I would have ordered him back in. I think that's where she lost control of that. But I like the fact she put it out that he's out of the car on the radio. Because like you said, that gets the partners that are listening to start heading that way. Because obviously this guy's getting out and this traffic stop could go a different way, which it did. So I just think the tactic was to yell. If you're going to yell at him and get back in the vehicle and keep control on what was going on there. But other than that, I think she was very, very confident. She handled herself well, and people helping out really made that all work out when nobody got injured. So that was well done at that point. That's all I have.
Yeah, Donald.
Question to all you guys, or all of us, really. What happens when the civilians get involved and someone gets hurt?
Eating card.
What do you say?
Eating card.
That's not like a cheap question right there.
You know how we live in a society where everyone is suing everyone. So they sue the police officer, and the thing that probably saved them for the most part was that she, for what we could see, she ain't taking the information of who helped her, who assisted. They didn't even say thank you. They were just like gone.
Yeah.
just I always think about that, because I saw how they jumped on them. Maybe someone could be twisting an arm too much, break an arm. Anything can happen in that situation. I'm glad they assisted. Let me just put that out there. I'm glad they're assisted. But then you put yourself in a situation when you do that. So I would just suggest that those who are listening, be very careful with how you jump into something. Because the other part is this, and I hate to go black and white, but I have to on this, that as a black man in that situation, I'd be afraid of a whole bunch of police officers coming now, and there's an officer calling for assistance, but who's the perpetrator?
Right. No description was ever given.
What do you say, Darren?
No description was ever given.
No. So who's the perpetrator? I just want to put that out there so we could think about it and maybe even discuss it.
All right. I got D and the,
Mark was trying to say something. They see.
Yeah, referring to the Good Samaritan laws are rooted in the fact that it protects individuals who voluntarily help others in emergencies from legal repercussions for their actions, provided they act reasonably and without gross negligence. These laws encourage bystanders' intervention by reducing the fear of lawsuits. So as long as you have a Good Samaritan law, that should cover you.
And that was the Good Samaritan part. The other part two was the color of my skin, and this police officer on the ground, and this guy's on the ground, and we're trying to help this police officer, and another police officer comes up and don't know. Because I'm sort of even with all of those persons there, and they were all white, come up there, who's the bad guy?
Yeah, I was looking at it the same way. I was like, okay.
Who's the bad guy?
Whoever got the Les Flintstone knots on his head is the good guy.
Yeah, I think in that situation, when you see everybody dogpiling on one guy, the average cop should be able to figure it out. But yeah, you're right, Don. It's a good point. When different situation and you see somebody standing there, say with their gun out, say Dave is trying to help a state trooper and he's got his gun out. Now the police pull up. Yeah, they're not going to know who is who. So yeah, you definitely take your life in hand when you do that, and you have to kind of protect yourself. And any police officers that you see, try to take as best cover as you can until you can explain who you are. That's probably the best way to do it. But we have had, even on Long Island, unfortunately, an officer lost his life in a situation where he was trying to stop a robbery. So those things do happen. Mm. And I believe he was white. So it wasn't even a color situation. But, you also have to look at who's responding. Certain officers will be, will maybe take the time, and other officers will be quick to use their guns. So
I got D, Cheech, and Jim.
All right, really quickly, Mark beat me to the Good Samaritan law. That's what I was going to talk about. And normally when that happens, if you're the officer record, you just telling everybody get out of here. Because you understand he's going to focus on what this guy did and so you want everybody to get out of there as quickly as possible. So that's what I saw, and when I saw them walking away, it made me think of that. Okay, they just did their business, and here's to the public: do your business and then be gone. Yeah. Right? Get back in your car and take off.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah, I gave some thought to what Donald said as he brought it up, and then I started to go back to the original video, and responding officer shows up, and he sees this guy. If I'm picturing Donald now in the place of that first heavyset white guy that showed up, that grabbed the man from the back. Now, if you picture a cop getting out of that car and what he sees is the female officer and an elderly white man being held back by Donald, yeah, it could be an issue. Could be an issue. I hate to think of it that way, but it's something that's reality.
Man, Cheech, you said yours. You said a comment, or you finished?
Nah, everybody said what I was going to say.
Okay.
Well, real quick, not where civilians getting involved, but I don't know if you guys recall the video that we reviewed of the two youth fighting in the mall, black and white youth, and when the officer got there, the white kid had started the fight, but they took down the black kid really quick. And the white kid was just hard. Yeah, so like you said, it can go bad.
Yeah, actually, we saw two videos, the last two, with community helping out. Caution, as he's saying, you don't know who's coming after you or what might happen while you're there. So if you have the ability and opportunity to help, and you want to help, we appreciate it. But if you don't have the ability, stay away. Go get help. The last thing a cop needs is for both you and him to get beat up. It's 4 minutes till. You got something, D?
Yeah. You guys know, lately, our president. This is for you, Jim, because I know you're the president of the Beehive. So he has come. He has come out against. He came for Beyonce. So the comedians say it. You can't really come after somebody that's got a mic, because you're gonna get yourself in a little bit of pickle. Let's take a look.
While President Trump is abroad, he's still managing to stir up another distraction here at home. This week, he's setting his sights on Beyonce. The president falsely claimed Beyonce was paid $11 million in endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 election.
President Trump calling for the prosecution of Beyonce.
Just spurious lies about people like Beyonce.
And now, a response from Beyonce.
You and Jeff, you and
Beyonce.
Don't come for me like that. I got a big
She's right.
I love that. Don, can you close us out, please?
Yeah, I didn't open up in prayer, and we're gonna definitely close out in prayer. But I want to. I'm not there yet, AC. I see you getting ready. You took the hat off and ready. No, I just got a chance to look at some of the remarks, and Brian Camp did say, I love the help by others. However, had this been black men to help a white police officer, how would that ended up for blacks to help? Just asking. And he says, thank you, Pastor, because I guess I responded without even knowing that he even asked that question. But that was a thought that I would just think about just immediately, even as a retired police officer. I'm not going to be so quick to be jumping in to help somebody. I tell y'all that right now. I'm going to be straight up. I'm just not going to be that quick. If it ain't my family or someone I know very well, one of you guys, I may have just get on the phone and say, 911, they need some help over here, because I'm not gonna put myself in that kind of danger, especially if I know it could turn on me, just based on the color of my skin and my size. If someone may be thinking I'm just trying to take someone out of here. I'm not, I'm trying to help. I had a situation with one of your boys years ago on the corner of Peninsula and Sycamore. And the state trooper had this guy. This guy was giving him a hard time. And I asked him, I said, listen, I'm on the job. You need any assistance? He said, no. I said, bye. He said, no. I said, bye. Because if you don't need any assistance, you don't need any. You know what I'm saying? I pulled out my stuff and showed him who I was. No. Okay. Bye. And I hope you make it through this. And the state police, who knows who that next trooper may be? You're around in a local village, you may be the only trooper in that village. And the next trooper may be a couple of villages away.
Exit.
30 miles in some cases.
And I don't know how to. What'd you say?
30 miles in some cases.
Yeah, especially when you're doing that rural area, you could be plenty of miles away. I understand that, but hey, listen, be careful out there. Thank you guys so much for joining. Does anyone has any, let me just say this, because if I was sitting there, I want to say this first. Will, you come up with some great stuff, boy. You got a mind that's you're out there. I can see that you were a supervisor. I can see that, but the some of the stuff you say and the way you approach this stuff, I can see your training. And of course, we got these other supervisors on here with Jim, Mark, and Derek, and even D himself, But let me just say thank you guys for your participation. Thank you for your input. Pray one for another. With Mark, we're still praying for you. JT and his wife Orlando, we're still praying for them. Cheech, we haven't forgotten you either, man. We haven't forgotten you. I know you look like everything is fine, but you still got your situation you got to go through. We're praying for you. AC, we're praying for you and your wife. Who else am I supposed to be praying for?
Jerry.
I'm saying Isabel.
Okay, y'all can call out some names.
Thank you, Jerry.
Isabel.
Thank you.
My oldest son's girlfriend's grandfather dropped dead in his bathroom the other day. 58 years old.
Wow.
58.
Yeah.
58?
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry to
So
hear that.
pray for the Elmore family in the Bronx.
Okay. Well, let's keep each other in prayer, and especially those who are on Facebook Live. We appreciate you guys. We really do. Thank you for joining us. We're praying for your families. We're praying for you, and we thank you for being with us on today. AC, thank you for hosting us today. As you can see, I didn't take off. I could have, but I didn't take off. I just felt like I really want to be a part of this today, even though I have something that I have to do. You guys know, but I had to be here today. I almost had my wife on here. She's sitting right over here. I said, listen, why don't you just go ahead and just sign into to the Zoom and get on the show, because she was loving the first part we were talking about with the parenting part. She was all up into that thing, boy. All right. Again, to those on Facebook Live, we will not be here next week, Thursday. We will not be here next week, Thursday. But don't be surprised if we do like a quick shout out to you guys. Don't be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let us pray. God our Father, we thank you for being God and being God all by yourself. We thank you for this show, Roll Call Black, White, Blue for Better Relations. We thank you for every person that's on this panel, has been on this panel. And we thank you most of all for those who listen to us each and every week. We pray to God that we're saying something that's going to help somebody, keep them out of trouble, keep them out of a problem with law enforcement, keep law enforcement out of a problem with the community, and that we all will work together and be as one. We thank you now. We pray that you watch over us till we see each other again. We pray to God that you will keep us as only you can. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.